Okay, welcome to my channel.
Yeah, I'm canning once again. I don't know if you can see me here, but hopefully it's looking at what I'm doing here. I've got pint jars, and if you'll notice here, I've got peppers. We harvested a lot of peppers last week, and you got to boil them for 5 minutes. As you know, peppers, the skins are fairly hard in that, and you can't really pack them in a jar and boil them. The jar will wind up about 3/4 empty. So you boil them first to soften them up. Pack them in a jar here and see if I can get a couple more in there. So that's part of the prep work. The other part of the prep work, of course, is boiling your jars. I boil my jars in here, and that once I started right now, yep, it's boiled for 5 minutes. I got it turned off now, but as soon as I start here, I turn on the heat to my canner here. In the meantime, I took one of the jars out, and I'm doing a little bit different here. This is vinegar. Add about a tablespoon of vinegar. I added some peppers and minced garlic. Also, got to throw some salt in here. Okay, so I'm done with the jar. At this point, I can't, kind of hard to pick it up. If you can see, I got the peppers in there. I got some hot peppers and garlic, minced garlic at the bottom. I put a tablespoon of vinegar in, a teaspoon of salt. Now all I got to do...
What about the dill?
Oh, no, these aren't dill. I've got to grab some hot water here, which I'll take out of my canner there. And it won't take a lot of water. And you fill it to about an inch from the top. There we go. And I always look at it at about to the neck here. You want to fill the water up. After you're done filling the water, go do and kind of tap the sides, because putting all this stuff in, you're going to get air bubbles down in there. That helps release the air bubbles. It'll seal that much quicker. Most of them will still seal otherwise, but you know, like I said, every little bit helps. Just get rid of all the air bubbles in there. And then clean the rim. Grab a top here, and of course I boiled the tops also. And this is kind of the hard part here. You just snug up the jars. See if I can pick it up here. You don't crank down on them hard, because the fact of it is, as you put them in the canner and they boil, and that pressure can them, and that, this is actually going to open up enough to release all the air. So you can, if you crank it down hard, be unable to do so, and you're going to wind up with spoilage. So just a snug fit. Once you've got that snug fit, it can go into the canner. And when you're done here, you want about that much water in the canner. Now when I boil them, I have to cover the top of the jars, so I boil a whole jar in water. In the pressure canner, oh, you only want maybe 2 to 3 inches of water. And so I take some of the water out of here, add it to the canner, and like I said, that's already on fire right there, so okay, I'm going to add a little pepper to the bottom. This is something a little bit different, adding the peppers and the garlic. I'm just going to see how it tastes. Might wind up being pretty terrible, then again it might wind up being pretty good, but that's part of the canning process, is doing the kind of experimenting you want to do. And of course then we grab the peppers. Whoop. And of course with Beth in here, you can hear Little barking outside. There she goes again.
When I get her. Okay.
And like I said, this is the kind of situation where you got to pack it down in the jars.
That's gonna be 5 kilos pepper.
Oh, that's got to be quite a few peppers that I got set here. But you kind of pack them down in the jar here as much as you can. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. And
The vinegar.
we're going to add a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of vinegar, it's all set. And now all we want to do really is
So you just use 1 water for everything?
and fill it up, like I said, to about the bottom of the ring here, about 1 inch of head space in there. This is a rock salt here, but I'm not worried about it dissolving. Once you're done putting the, and it's not a brine solution, but it is with the salt in there, and that helps preserve everything. Get as much of the oxygen out of here in the little bubbles, and you'll see them come up to the surface here.
Maybe you can make the papaya daily.
I'm not sure. That's something I'd have to look up. Everything, folks. I've got a ball canning book, and I go by them guys.
This tastes good, really.
They
Papaya.
are the professionals at this, and always use some type of a canning guide when you do this. Use the regular canning jars in order to be able to do this. Okay.
How many cans? Not 3?
This is our own peppers. And so everything that I want to can, I look up, go through the ball canning guide. Because these guys have done it, and forever and ever and ever. And especially with pressure cooking, and take their advice on everything, and wow, you're going to be so far ahead of the ball game. Years ago, without the pressure canners, they actually cooked everything in a container like this. They call it a hot water bath. And what you do is, once everything's filled like these jars, you put it in there, make sure there's 1 inch of water over the tops, and you boil them for a certain amount of time. And it works out, in a lot of instances, because I know when we did it at home, we did more hot water bath canning than anything else, and you got a little bit of spoilage, but really not that much. And of course back then, there weren't no professional canning things like this, pressure canners. They did have pressure cookers that you should cook vegetables in, and a lot of people use that, but in a lot of instances there was little to no guides about how to do that. And I'm talking back in the 50s. I'm maybe aging myself here, but that's okay too, because I came from that generation, and of course I'm a baby boomer, born in 1948. So we want to add some salt to this, and some vinegar. And like, whoops, I got my magnet hooked up here. Like I said, I'm not sure how this will come out, but I like all this type of flavor to it. And I've experimented around with this for years. And fill that up to about right there. And then take and try to get some of the oxygen bubbles out. Make sure the top is clean. Go fishing for another top here. And that's really all the tighter it's got to be. You just snug it down, like I said, because the air that's in there has got to escape. And you got to leave room for it to escape. And then we get another round here.